Well, hello, and welcome. This is Joanna with the Jewel Design, and today we are here with a brand new project. And a little less journaling, like a little less of a journal, and more folio pocketed box something or other, right? So, Ink and Page Journals has a gorgeous Starcatcher kit out that she's doing a whole YouTube series on. And it's a free, if you subscribe to her thing, go to YouTube and you click on her thing, you subscribe to her thing, you get this gorgeous free kit. And I'm using like a third of it. A third at most. Maybe. Well, maybe. I went ahead and took that Starcatcher kit, and it's all in blues, creams, golds, beiges, all that feel, as you can see here. And she has pages for journals, she's got papers, and she has this beautiful kit. If you do all the pieces, I think she's in week 4 or 5. I think it's completed at this point, but you can find it on YouTube, and you can make it with her. But she does a journal on one side and an ephemera, like drawer, 2 or 3 drawer folio piece. And so she has all the pieces for it. She walks you through, you glue it together, you make your box on the side with the drawers, and on the other side is all those covers and whatnot to make the, to have the journal side. I didn't quite want to do that. I know, silly me. I really wasn't sure if I could sell it and things like that. But I didn't want to use the whole kit and caboodle either. Like, I didn't want to use the whole kit. I loved the floral pieces. It is Starcatcher. So this would be my concept of floral dreams, or a floral dreamer, however you want to put it. And so we're sort of sticking to it. But I'm using all her flowers. I'm using some of her books, stories, right? Fantasy. She's got a lot of pretty floral pieces. She has some books. There are book elements to it, along with a lot of other things. But books, walkways. Hold on. Ew, so sorry. Vases, vases, bottles, florals, gates, all kinds of stuff. But we've been doing so much pink and green and purple. I loved the sort of dreamy galaxy blue and creams, blue and beiges of this kit. So I found all the florals. I found all the journal cards, tags, pockets, everything I could find. I'm blessed that I can take her kit and paginate it to where I can just print out what I needed. So today we are working on, and it took me, it's why it's Wednesday and not Monday or Tuesday, guys. I realized I had a lot more work to do than I realized. I needed to blow things up. I needed to pick and choose, and I had to repaginate all her pieces so that I could print just what I wanted at the floral side. Like I said, this is a good size kit. Like, she has 4 weeks of downloads for you guys, and there's a lot to use. If you like the it's not star watching, but stargazing, astrology, galaxy, floral, lots of beautiful blues, a little sciencey, but on a more feminine side of the stem of that. So anyway, it's a huge kit, and there's no way I was going to print all of it, especially when everything's getting a little hard to get a hold of right now. So I just pick and choose things I wanted, which you'll get to see. I wanted to create a somewhat box-like folio piece that will have pockets and things to use to put all this ephemera in. And then we'll make a journal to go with it. It'll be a separate journal to use up the rest of the ephemera. I haven't printed those pages yet, so it'll probably be my own set of 2 to 3 videos at least. But today I want to get started on the creation of the base piece. So instead of her drawers, we're going to make sort of a fold out folio pocketed folio piece, using our file folders. This is our craft colored one that comes in with our pink and our cream. It's our shabby set of file folders. I was thinking about doing the blue or green or blue or gray. But I really, the vintage pastel colored file folders we have are in such small sections and small amounts. I didn't have any extra to, not sell. I have to sell every one I buy, so it's okay. I'm liking the brown idea. I'm loving how these look with it. I'm okay with it. A little extra ink and we'll be good to go. So I'm okay with that. So, but any file folder, any kit you have. Just keep in mind you may need to put a little extra papers when you're doing a file folder because it is 11 plus inches? 11 and a half, or a little over 11 and a half inches to use a file folder on the as a horizontal, not even the other. You go the other way with it, and you know, of course, it's even taller or longer. Who knows? But in this case, keeping it here and folding it inward to make it 4 panels. 1, 2, 3, 4 front, and then 8 front and back. It is a little over 11 and a half inches. So your papers might come up short. Yeah, because with the tab, it's 9.5 on the outskirts, which I almost screwed up. And it is a width, you know, technically the height will be a little over 11.5. So we are going to do like I always do when I'm doing panel work. We are going to let the brown show around the edges where I can. Some things are going to be perfectly fit. Other things will be, we're going to give that bordering around everything. So to start off with, how do we want to do this? So if you have a file folder, go pull one out. You know, pause me. Go get a file folder. Scrapbook paper 12 by 12 would work. Actually, scrapbook paper 12 by 12 will help you cover this up. If you want to cover from top to bottom, so if all you have is manila, you know, plain file folders, go get some scrapbook paper, especially single-sided stuff because that makes it easy. You need, otherwise, you can do 8.5 by 11. Just keep in mind that when you're doing your print work, you're going to want your print to be upright at the longer end of 11 because we're going to go 4.5, 4 1/4, things like that. So we can cut it in half. So you have scrapbook paper or a set of digital papers that you're like, oh, I have a bunch of scraps. Doesn't really matter. But things that I'm using all cardstock. So I did all my print papers on cardstock to make this thicker. Since this is going to hold pockets and ephemera and whatnot in it, I didn't want to have it be paper on just standard paper on my file folder because I thought maybe too flimsy. So do cardstock on file folder. It's going to make this really sturdy and just hold up a little bit better. Now I don't plan on putting the journal in it, so it's not like I'm using it in that sense. But you never know. I mean, I want to just sort of tuck it in there, right? I want to make sure it's going to hold up. So the only downside is when I was thinking about this is that a file folder has, of course, a fold down the middle. And I was a little bummed about that because I went to go do this and went, oh, yeah, that's what we're going to give. So we are going to try to reinforce it on the outside to see if we can keep it from, you know, bowing. If we put something on the outside to sort of force it upward, right? And then keep folding it that way too, I guess. I don't know. We're just going to keep folding it back and forth. Maybe it'll stay flat. We're going to go that. So what I did was I did take the fold, because well, it's not even middle. That was the other thing I realized, but it's okay. Took the fold and went 1/2 inch both ways. And so I scored it 1/2 inch from the middle, or from the pre-designated fold line, which I can't do anything about. Because we're going to have a 1-inch gusset, or spine, I guess, for our folio box. And we're going to have another set over here, 1/2 inch over here, to fold things in. So when the pockets and the flip outs and all that stuff start going, they're going to lay flatter with each other and not have it bow or bulge or stuff like that. So that's the goal. So from that though, I am going then, since we got the, I don't know if you guys can see. So this is the middle. I can't do anything about, right? It's already full. So I went 1/2 inch one way, 1/2 inch the other, right? To create our spine. From that 1/2 inch mark though, I'm going to now I'm lining it up at the 9-inch mark, and I'm going out 4.5 inches, right? 4.5, 4.5, make 9, to your edge of your spine, not the middle. And at the 4.5 inch mark, now I'm using a scoreboard, but not the score tool because it's not very thin, and I come right out of the score thing, and I will go sideways. I tried it earlier, and I went whoop, and I was like, well, that's not going to do me any good. So I'm using my pointy tool. It's great for many different crafts. And so, you know, it's a little ball. Use it for painting, for, you know, doing artwork, acrylic artwork, on nails, on anything, for dot work. Now, I know I'm going 4.5 inches out, and that this is not 4.5 inches even. And I'm okay with that. Not really. What I have to decide on, and this is what we're going to do, is that going to make for a really thin, a lot thinner than I expected. My box here, when we're done, needs to, though, be the same width. Right now, over here, I realized because this is the back, it's 4.5 inches. You know, it is 9 inches to the edge of the tab, and I don't want to lose the tab. We are going to use that tab, as you see already, as a way to leave a peekaboo, to know, oh, there's something here to open up. That ordeal. So if we tighten up, no, I did it the other way. Trying to go in that corner ain't going to work. So 9 inches again on the outer fold. I guess I turn this upside down. Flip it around, lined up my 9 again. Here's my 4.5. But definitely don't use the skinny one because you can go right through your papers. Use your wider ball point. Oh, not a ball point bent though. Okay, so then there's that. Which technically when you score it, it helps you go backwards with it. But we need to go inward with it, so it's alright. Now this one sits right on the line, which makes it good. It means really hard. So there's our ordeal for that to open and close. So the whole point is, oh, that's not, but that's what it looks like. So what the outside is supposed to look like is that. So what I'm thinking is, yes, we're going to go 1/2 inch this way to make this shorter. And so it doesn't rub against that box. So it's not going to have a problem going in and out, especially if we put anything decorative. It's going to be a little crazier. So I'm just going to line it up with the 8. I'm going to go 1/2 inch in, because that's why we did the 1 inch spine on the middle, so that it could accommodate 2.5 inches. 2.5 inches. That sounds funny. When we actually close it. Okay. So let's see this. Oh, both ways. All these folds work for me. Work for me. Hope you're all doing really well. Thank you for joining me today. This Wednesday afternoon. Okay, so now, amazing how 1/2 inch, and it's, right? There, it's tight. Here, all the room in the world. Who knew? But that's going to allow us to put a pocket over here, put flip outs or pockets or tucks here, and not have everything be, if it was flat, it'd be doing this, right? All the time. And things would have a hard time getting in and out and opening and closing. But by doing this, we now have a spine here, and we have our spine here. So now let's put one on the other side. Now, my only worry is, if I give it the gusset, will it go too far in? Well, the other problem is I cannot, hold on, let me make sure my, there we go, keep it flat. Nope, flat, there we go. Yeah, so for it to stay flat so that I can put it together, I have to shorten it in here. Same thing we did before. Just want to make sure I'm looking at going, common sense going, please tell me. It's going to be a very small, a narrow pocket over here. A little bit more narrow than I expected. And that's okay. You know, it's still going to be, I think we're going to have a tall pocket tucked in from the outside. A pocket here tucked in from the inside. And then we're going to go reverse over here. We're going to go a little taller here with a cutout and a smaller one on the bottom. So that is the idea. We're going to have a little bit of back and forth. But every panel is going to have, you know, from pretties to whatever. And I got, you know, I got the basic idea from, I think it's Debbie at Ink and Page. I see her name on the emails, but I didn't quite catch it. So if I keep it flat, yep, if I can keep my spine flat, then these two line up together to dot, and I want to connect them via, I want them to connect, which I'm going to have to keep that in mind, is we're going to put it here and paper over it, right? And we're going to connect them together. And I was thinking about doing it from the inside, but then with those pockets, it would be in the way of any ephemera. So we're going to put glue down, you know, glue these down, put paper over them so that they will keep our little guy closed. Not that I can, yeah, right? Well, the whole point is, yeah. Put one down, do the other, but we're going to use our little guy to keep that closed. And hopefully that's not going to, it's going to work and it's not going to be too big. We're going to get real crafty. Okay, so there we go. So I have washies. She did give us strips and I put them on sticker paper. So we're going to, even though everything's not perfect, you know, it's not going to go top to bottom. Everything's just going to have sort of this wraparound feel. Like everything's going to hopefully be about the same. I have to measure, probably 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch from top to bottom, from the top, from the bottom, in the middle, so that our print goes all the way around, except for here. Hopefully we can trace this right, and it's going to show a little bit of brown. Excuse me, fingers crossed, right? Okay, so what we're going to start off with, you can see front and back. Let's keep this upright. It's really flimsy. And so what I did was I took a, what's the word? Cereal box. And I took one of those, same thing, right? The side of the boxes, not the front or back. Sorry, that was just, it's not straight, and I can't seem to get it any straighter. I just seem like it's getting worse and worse. Every time I try to cut it. There we go, maybe a little bit. I took the cereal box. I took one of the strips that I put on my sticky paper, and we're going to put it down here and glue it down and see if we can get this fold that I can't do anything about to subside, go away, not be so rickety. I want to make sure that we can sort of solidify the whole thing and make sure it just makes it a little less obvious. Now I do that, yeah, no. No matter what I do, I'm going to keep trimming this, and pretty soon I'm not going to have anything left, right? Your papers, your scissors, nothing stays straight. And I try to cut it on the printer, but on the cutter, but you know, when things are getting down to 1/2 an inch to an inch, it gets a little crazy. Okay, so that's what I want to do here. Let's ink this a little bit, right? We're just gonna, everything's gonna get a little bit of inking, so that we have a sense of, I don't know, unification. But it really is it's a really pretty kit, and she, you know, uses a lot of it in her thing, and so you know, she has a whole kit that just everything gets used in a very specific way. Of course, I'm going, how else can I use this? I took journal pages to make that we're going to use the inner. So I just realized I had my cat. That we're going to use for the inner pockets. I'm taking her papers, which are horizontal, and I had to flip them on their side and make them a little bit more vertical and blow them up. So you'll see all this stuff in her kit, but not everything will be exactly in this. It won't be in the same order, and it won't be in the same PDF. It won't be in a lot of things. Because I really did take all her PDFs, and then I just grabbed the pieces that I wanted and repaginated it on my side. Being a graphic designer myself, so I'm not pirating any of her stuff. I'm just rearranging it, so I'm only printing what I absolutely need, because I just realized our ink comes from China. And who knows, right? So anyway, that's all I'm saying about that. Never mind. Didn't even go there, but I'm a little worried, you know. Anyway, so I'm really picking and choosing, of course, and plus I don't have a very big printer package. I make sure that we have all our prints, you know, I have enough paper to print all my paperwork for the business, but, you know, doing all the invoices and your thank you letters and the packaging, and, you know, I don't want to be spending any more money. Just realized that plan went up in price again. I'm like, eek. So, I mean, it's still way cheaper than the ink if I had to buy it directly, but, all right. Maybe I'm trying to figure out which way I want the flowers. I think it was going this way, so I don't know if it really matters. The papers on the outside here are going to be as follows. Here is our front. I mean, it says left, but it's, if I left front. And I was thinking left-hand side, but that's if it was backwards, upside down. So that's going to be our left page. This is going to be our right page. Just mirror back. And they are big. Now, I did realize because of the spacing we're going to have to cut them down, and that's okay. I did shrink them as it was. I had them actually a lot bigger, and then it was like, oh, I don't need all that space. And now I'm thinking, no, I really don't need all that space, because we don't want them to sit on the crinkled areas. But anyway, we're going to do this. This is what this is going to look like, right? With our little bit of spacing. Everything's going to be inked. So I'm definitely going to have to take a good 1/2 an inch off the pages. But this is going to be the front and the back of the folio box. Because it's not a full box. Its top and bottom isn't covered, but it has the spines and the gussets of a potential box-like folio. So, but there's a front, there's a back technically. So I'm liking this stuff up here, blending in with that. So I'm okay with that. So I was just looking to see how it's going to lay out. So when you're looking at the front and back of things, and really go either way, you can let it sit however you want once it's all put together. But as you see, these are, I printed borderless photo printing. So I had a little bit extra ink. I went through an ink cartridge pretty quickly. I'm like, oh God, it's all the blues. Very little red, or a lot of green and a lot of blue. Blue and yellow, black, not a whole lot of cyan. Yes, cyan, not so much magenta, but yeah, a lot of green and stuff. So, let's see. So, I'm like, But I went borderless photo printing so that it'd go all the way to the edge of the page, because there's no other way I was going to get enough space and not have a bigger gap all the way around. Or inconsistent, too. My printer likes to print me like an itty bitty white border on one side and a much larger one on the other side. So, okay, I think we're doing good. So now it's just sort of doing some measurements to make sure I feel that we can have a consistency on top and bottom. So if this is exactly, this guy is 11 and a half. This is over, oh my, and this is at 11. And our file folder is a little over 11 and a half, right? So yeah, that's why I was figuring about 1/4 of an inch then, maybe. Let's see. I'm doing some guesswork here. I mean, I can mark it at 1/4 up here, but I think then we have over 1/4 on the bottom. Yeah, we would. So within reason of about 1/4 of an inch. So what I might do is then, we're going to do some markings here today. So here's our 1/4 mark. Here's our half. So I'm just going to go like that one little notch below the 1/4 mark. So I know where to start this, to try to make sure as we're going along that we're trying to level, line up all of our things. Now, I think glitter glue will be okay with this. I don't know. It's sort of waxy because it is a cereal box. Trying to think of where I had really long cardboard that I didn't have to cut too much up. And so I went ahead and, you know what, I think we're going to, never mind, let's glue onto here, since I can see this a little easier. So how are you all doing? Anything fun over the weekends? I know last time we talked was Saturday night? No, yes. I don't know when last time we talked. Oh my gosh. We were talking about something, and it was short and sweet. Because I said I wouldn't be back till Monday or Tuesday. It was 3 o'clock, so I don't know if that was a Thursday or Friday event. I don't think I did one over the weekend. I don't know. But anyway, end of last week, beginning of this week, I was hoping we'd have this up on Monday or Tuesday, but I was busy with the kids. And then you guys slammed me with a bunch of orders, which, thank you. And then, and then I realized I had to think my way through this. I could not just get on here and be like, yeah, let's just do this. No. I needed to come on here and make sure you guys had some guidance. Like, I'm trying to come up with something. So, don't know if anybody else has done it. This is, it's very likely I've got enough inspiration from everybody that, it's not something completely, foreign, or, it's not super brand new, but it's just something that I thought, well, let's use the file folders. I get tired of making just straight journals. Not that we aren't going to make one. Don't get me wrong. I have the page. She has gorgeous pages to go with, plenty of gorgeous pages to go with the ones I'm using. I didn't even print the paper. Well, I printed 2 papers. I think 2 pages I used. This one might have been a paper. I have one that's going to go on the inside that's going to be a page. Like just a paper. Yeah, 2 or 3 papers. Yeah, I used 2 or 3 of her papers. And just, shaped them and paneled them out so that we can use them. So, okay. What I can do, though, whether it's a score tool or a bone folder, they're about the same thing. I said when we first started, we were using our bone folders as, score tools until we rubbed them raw. Alright, so the same ordeal now. I'm going to do blue, since we are doing a darker blue floral on the inside, we are going to do, a blue here. And it's just a sticky paper just to get us covered, because then we'll have, the panel work isn't completely, I could keep it brown in the middle, but I do want to sort of hide all these little lines, truthfully. Now, because this is sticker paper, though, I don't have to glue it, at least not for the most part. For the most part, I can stick it down and then just, if need be, do a little glue in anywhere that just seems to doesn't want to stay down. We'll do a little glue. Now, let's try the top. And the nice thing is, too, because it's on sticker paper that is label paper, it means it won't come up, though. Once it is down, and I'm, SOL. But it has to help with label work. It's actually sticker paper. It's my label paper, which works beautifully for me, as always has. It does come up in, the backing comes off in sections, which makes it easy for you to not have to have a whole kit and caboodle of sticky on your hand, loose and exposed, and you're not feeling like you just stuck it down where you didn't need it to. Right? Okay. So there is going to be a little bit of black that's going to show, maybe. Oh, that's going to be a bummer. We'll find a way to cover that up. Maybe we have to put a little lace on that side. Wouldn't be a bad idea. Now, to make that all good and fine and dandy, though, let's get this back and let's get a little bit of brown inking for some distress, for some, aging. Plus, on a craft paper, it's just this nice shadow effect. It's depth. I love it. It's nothing hard. It just looks like it's worn. Like, okay, hey, we folded it too many times, and it's got dirt and ink on it, right? Or dirt and wear and tear, oil. It shouldn't be dirt. I should say oils. Oils, maybe. Over the years. Being folded and opened so many times. No. Okay. So there's the inside. We're getting some. Okay, there we go. So I can do the same thing here with the tan ones. The tan was actually supposed to be on this outside, and I goofed and started cutting it in half. I was getting my 1/2 inch and my 1 inch and my 1/2 inch complete. I knew I had to take a little bit off the 1 inch, and I kept getting 1/2 inch stuck in my mind. Now, this is already doing so much better, guys. I know it's hard to tell, but when I was putting it flat before, I kept bending it upward, so these weren't lining up. Now, it's a little harder, right? That is not going to let me, yay! It's not going to give, and it's not going to bulge in any weird way, so I'm all happy about that. So, good call there, plus nice and sturdy, especially for something that could maybe it's sticking upright in your bookcase. Maybe, if it is sitting flat, now it's going to stay straight up, and it's not going to whoosh in any direction. So, all right, that worked. So, any strips, paper strips that you get from us, if you have the opportunity, especially when we give you a page of them, print them on sticker paper of some sort, whether it's vellum sticker paper, whether it's label paper, whatever it might be, print it on sticker paper, because it makes it really nice. If you can't, then I think you do the paper, and you can do the tape on both sides, and there's a couple other ways you can, make your own stickers. I know there's hordes of different people out there who have shown us how to do that. You can glue it onto any kind of roll of stickers. I mean, all you got to do is get it to stick. It's already sticky here, right? So you got to take the other side off. So same thing. You turn it upside down. You cover it with a bunch of sticky tape. Pull the other side off, and ta-da! You've got. I forgot about this stuff. Ooh, I have hordes of it too. Huh? I forgot about that. We had a couple different tricks up our sleeves for 3 to 4 years ago. Okay, so now. Okay, so I can erase some of my marks just to be on the safe side, because I do not have the inside gusset done yet. I realize I do not have the potential of this to be covered on the inside. So when we open this, I don't have that covered yet. Now, I could put lace there if I have a skinny lace that I can cut down that's in cream. I can put a skinny lace there, or trim of some sort there. Or, I mean, I have plenty more, right? This is just one of the sheets that I printed. I could cut, narrow this down and put them here, right? To keep lining things up. And I have another sheet of it. It just didn't print to the edge, so that's the problem. I thought it was going to expand the page, and it kept the white border around it. I was like, oh, man. One of those trick of the trades when your printer changes on you and the settings change, and you're like, oh, that doesn't work like that anymore. Okay, so let's get this front done. And then front and back done, because that's our next pieces, right? And then we need to work on the inside pieces, because that's where we need to put our magnets in. That's going to help keep this closed. And then at that point, we'll see how we're doing, and we can start working on layers of the inside pockets and things like that to see how we're going to keep building this outward. So I'm going to actually pause you real quick. I'm going to ink this up so we don't waste any time, and then then I'll come back with panel work, and we'll figure out how we want to do this. 1 second. Sorry, a little bumpy there. Okay, welcome back. Okay. Oh, and it's dark. So sorry about that. I'm like, I turned it off so I don't overheat my phone. Right now, it's not too bad. We've been pretty cool. Though I don't know. We'll see. We could see low 80s at the end of the week. We'll see. Not too bad a day, but, low 80s, low to mid 80s tomorrow and Friday. So we'll see. And I think Saturday too. But I'm supposed to be on the coast with a bunch of kiddos, so it's definitely cooler on the coast. So yeah, we'll see. Okay, but when it gets warm, yeah, it gets warm. The light, the camera, everything definitely wants to get warm, even the newest stuff. So okay, so there we go. Everything's a little inked, a little hard to tell, but it is there. You see it more in the folds when it's open. You can see sort of the distressing of it, which is great, but we don't do too much. I did realize I'm really glad I'm doing the ink and not the oxide. Oxide's definitely wetter, and all this bending back and forth, we don't want to rip anything. It is still just, well, it's more than, no, it's not cover stock, so I guess it's cardstock cards, like 110-pound, probably type cardstock when you have file folders, so, excuse me. Okay, so this is your front. Well, front left when it's on the left side of your box, right? That's what. All right. So we know it's going to be, it's going to be 1/4 inch out. We know that we're not going to go all the way to the edge. Now, I do want more of the flower here and less, whatever here. We are going to make sure we cover up a bunch. I'm not giving a lot of border on the edges, back and forth, because, I do want it to not be too different from this, but not so much that, not either way. I don't want to be like going really I don't want to do super panel work. I don't want to do a lot of paneling, but I don't want to be not enough to where I can't, like, oh, let me enjoy this. So I cut it there. It's even shorter. Nope. So it's a little bit of eyeballing. There's really not much I can do about this. It's just deciding. And once I pick a width, then I will do it. I will cut them both the same. So that we are not, I'm not going to do each one of these and guess at it as we go along. Oh, this one looks 5 or this one looks 8 or, we're going to pretty much try to keep it pretty neutral. Now, if this is 4.5, then 4 1/4, again, yes, here, border it. It's not going to give a lot. So we're going to go 1 notch below below our 1/4 mark, right? We're going to keep to that. 1 notch below the 1/4 mark. So 4 3/16 probably. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. Because that'd be 3/8 or 4/8, so it'd be 3/16. So that works for me. I think my way through that. Okay. So we are going to, the problem is I gotta cut all these, so I'm gonna have to pull some kind of cutter out to do that, but I figured I would attempt to try and mark up this, because I won't be able to cut straight from top to bottom with just marks. I could try to draw the line and hope for the best. right? And hope that everything was equal. Well, I need straight. So if something is off, I mean, I'm going off this. It makes me so nervous, guys. I cut these by hand, so maybe that's a problem. I cut these by hand, and so I have a feeling that I'm gonna have to cut one side really straight, and then make it, work it off that. All right, I did some of the work with you guys, on camera. I don't want to be doing everything every time I turn around off camera, but we'll get the first one or two done, and then if it looks like there's any repetition of a measurement, I can always pause and stop and start. But I'm bound to hit the wrong button because I did notice that my pause button is on the other end on the screen on this new phone compared to the old one. And I'm like, oh. So if I decide the top is straight, haha, then we're just going to take the tiniest amount, right, off to make sure that it is as straight as can be, so that when I go to line it up over here, the same way, it's like, why am I doing this? I'm like, here, let's see how good I was. Let's see. Well, I did take a little off, so we'll see. So 4 and 3 notches, right? 1 notch below the quarter. And yeah, I'm not really off. I'm actually right where I need to be because remember I took a little bit off. So, all right, we're going to have that, which is the joy of, and so now I have this beautiful strip, which, right, I can just go bloop. And so if something else comes up and I need to border something, we have that capability. It's just not on sticker paper, so I have to keep in mind that we have to use it in a different manner. Now, that is my left. And we're going to cut and glue as we go because I do not want to mix them up. I spent so much time trying to make sure I knew what I was doing that I do not want to mix that up. So that's actually really nice, even though, yes, I know it's a little more top and bottom. For me, I normally do not like. Now, I did notice that this is smaller than this. So I could take a smidge off the top or bottom. Let's see if I want a little less dark. Let's see. I just realized, yeah, I don't have, this ended up shorter somewhere along the line. But I sort of want to try to make sure everything matches so that it's sort of consistent across the way, because I don't want to have too much highs and lows. I do want things pretty clean. This is one of those things where we're not doing a really chaotic project. This is definitely something more, a little bit more precise, a little bit cleaner. We're letting the florals and things like that be our soft edges and abstract moments. We're not doing the, deckled edges, and we're not doing all of that. We're going to keep things pretty clean this time around. That way, like I said, the florals are the abstract, the soft, the curves, whatever we need. Because I do have fussy cuts in the bottles, and, even the books in their own right, when they stack and twist, and it does have its own pretty. I am doing a little bit of inking, in case there's any white, and just a little bit of a shadow. We're just going to keep that going. My poor sweaters will be covered in lint when I'm done. Alright, so is that a little closer? Yeah, I don't think we're going to get perfection, but that's okay. And I am going to be using my Fabri-Tac because, oh no, wait, hold on, not Fabri-Tac. Not sure what I need my Fabri-Tac for. I don't know why I left it up on my side. We're going to glue stick this puppy because I do not want to be going, oh, I goofed and I need to straighten it out and find out I can't get the glitter glue off the craft file folder paper, right? Since we are using both cardstock and, lightweight cardstock and file folder, I have a feeling it's going to stick pretty good. I just did the glitter glue for this and went, oh, we just made it, and I didn't have to do much. I am gluing on the project. I know, bad me, but I'm gluing where I know I've got to put glue down anyway, so if it comes up, it's not the end of the world. Okay, make sure we don't have it upside down. As it all bows. It's the only thing it's wet, so it's gonna, let's see if we can line everything up well enough. Hoping that everything is straight enough within its own right. I need to get my bone folder out. Let's get that out. So that we can try and get as much, you know, of the air bubbles and the glue down and not be too... Eek. I'm dropping everything today, ladies and gentlemen. That's sort of rude. Yeah, there we go. Ta-da! Of course, at any point, this just bugs me too much. We will find lace. Now, it doesn't mean I get to hopefully pull. I gotta go look at our two, we have 2 or 3 different dark blues in our shop. And I'm hoping there's a little extra on each one of them. We have 3 different types. We have a stretch 1 inch, a stretch 1.5 inch. We have a floral double scallopy, blue one. So I think we have 3 different navy blues that I'm hoping will look really pretty with this. I don't think I have anything in the paler blue. Well, the Tiffany blue one might work, but I think the Tiffany blue and our new pom-pom, I think, is too minty. I think there's a little bit too much green in it, so we'll see. I wish I had something lighter. I do have all my sage greens, and if I wanted to pull more green, I could to a point, the flowers and stuff. So I'd be able to do a little detail work with these. I have the, what's the other one? And this one. Oh, this one's really pale, so like even this. This is beautiful with this. There are some florals that have this pale sage green in it. And so I do have some green. So now I gotta hope I find the blues and the creams. So that way I'm dyeing a lot of white lace cream. Okay, now same ordeal on the back. Here's our back one. Again, we're gonna trim this section. I'm trying to decide. Do I want this guy to show more, and just cut off this? Or do I want more of that? I'm looking at my... Actually, I sort of like this one. So I think we'll trim this off, but we're going to trim my 1/2 inch off over here. For sure. And a little off the top. And a little off the top, right? Again, let's line it up. Let's going to line it up a little bit. And that way, maybe I have a good shot at potentially... Try and get a little bit of that off, but we'll make sure the top is about as straight as we can get. Gotta find a moment where we think it's straight. Well, maybe we'll go straight off one. We're cutting this end off, so nope, we're gonna make sure this is our straight edge. We'll barely trim it. I'll trim it off with just barely that. So I'm gonna barely trim this to make sure it's straight, then use it as my go-to to take the bottom off, and then again get us down to the 4 3/16 width, slot again, so that we can do our bit. So if we went for 4.5 out, 1/2 inch beyond that to make these smaller panels. This is 4.5. I'm going 4 3/16 to have a nice, border around our panels because, well, our papers, unless you're using 12 by 12 scrapbook paper. Right, that would make this a whole lot easier. You could cover top to bottom, edge to edge if you wanted, and just ink your folds. Oh, but look at that! Isn't that pretty? I mean, it's still really pretty. I'm usually anal retentive, and I am not minding that. So here, we can do this. We can move it off to the side. I'm like, oh, it has to have an even matted look. If you've been following me for a while, I complain about that all the time. I do with my artwork. I do with things that I get really frustrated. I have to, I do diamond painting work and on occasion, and I get really frustrated when I cannot frame it evenly all the way around. So I then have to go find myself like a perfect size frame, or maybe I'm just barely trimming off one side or the other and it's tucked in and you can't tell. I'm like, nope. Yeah. I do not like, it's really hard. I get all these new projects and they're making them weird shapes and no one does frames that size. I'm like, well, people, how is that supposed to help anybody? Why would we do these? I know a lot of ladies in the beginning doing diamond painting, which is a paint by number with these little drills. They had their husbands make them frames. all their husbands had all the proper cutters, and they would do the 45-degree angles, and they would make them wood frames for their diamond painting because it wasn't a lot cheaper at the time. And two, how else were you going to do it? I now see why. Because it is just unreal trying to get the right, frame for these projects that are now getting bigger and bigger, and they're not thinking about the size when they have you buy them, and you're like, oh, this is great, and then you're like, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to frame this work so that all these drills like stay in place, right? So that did weird things. Did that move? I had a weird cut there. Let's hope I did not just... Didn't look like it moved, but I was like, wait a minute. Let's make sure. Like that seemed to... No, it's one step even farther down, didn't I? Oh, I did. Oh no, guys. Well, it is the back. I mean, I could try to glue that back down, I guess. I don't know if I could glue it down and not be able to tell, right? I'm like, I don't think we can get that down and not tell. So it's the back. It moved and I kept moving it. Oh, I should have left it alone. Alright, well, it's a back. It's okay. Just means it'll be a little bit better framed than the front. Alright. But the front we get a decor. Like, I can add lace here and no one can tell. Or overlap, overlap a corner. And who's going to know the difference, right? Well, it's not going to be as obvious, I should say. So, yeah, it just means there's a little bit more. Not much. That was a thin sliver. It's alright. We can do this. Okay. You'll have to let me know what you're up to, what you've been working on. I do appreciate you watching and maybe following along, right? This is a potential craft along and not anything major, but call it a semi-tutorial. I mean, I'm winging it to a point. I mean, I did try to work it out and figure it out, but we're going to work on some of our measurements as we go. Like, okay, well, we know this needs to go here, so this panel and this panel are the same, so we need, like this, same measurements, so we're going to make it look nice and uniform. And then we're going to go to the next section and go, okay, well, that is, not as specific. On the inside here, we know that we're going to do the same thing. Actually, this inside panels are going to be exactly the same. They're going to be the exact same. I think we're going to do the exact same 4 3/16, closer to 4 1/4 maybe, because it's on the inside. But then again, maybe not. Yeah, we probably want the same amount because when you fold it inward, we don't want those pages to wrap, sort of bend against each other. I've done that before in too many books and things where, those inner pages get folded and then they start buckling this way, and that's no fun. It doesn't look very good when you feel like your stuff is coming undone while you're working on it. So while I have it flat, I may get our side pieces done too while we're at it. We're going to open and close this a few times, so it's going to be a bummer that we're not going to, it's not going to be like a one and done. We won't ever open them again. But, okay, so let's work on that. Of course, let's see. I am doing this from afar, so I'm guessing at straightness. Because, no, I'm not... You guys probably have to see what I'm doing, so I can't really have it right in front of me. But close enough. There we go. I'm off the... There we go. I'm like, why am I... There we go. And anything starts coming up, of course, and you just start putting glue on the edges, and it'll help keep it down. Or if you want it to be... probably won't be using too much fabric tack until we absolutely have to, because it is... I mean, this paper is going to have a moment where it's just not going to, hold up, and we don't want it to get wet and rip, so we don't want to do that. Okay, so what I'm thinking in these guys... I'm going to put this here, and what this edge is what we're seeing is actually, if I go all the way to the edge and it opens, I'm a little worried if it will go off the edge. Not that I can't try to go in there and carefully trim it, but that's not always the cleanest thing. But at the same time, as I'm finding out, this little 1/2 inch piece is really hard to cut any smaller. I am inking the you-know-what out of the backing of the sticker paper, trying to get to the edge of the actual sticker without getting my fingers all over the sticky part. Because once I take this off, I'm trying to ink and not get my fingers all over our washi tape sticker. It's a little harder to do, but I do want to ink it just like we've been doing everything else. Now these are about 1/2 inch, give or take. This is just operator error, whether between my cut and of course the folds, whether, you know, they're going to match up, but I don't think it really matters. I think we're gonna, let's do this one first. I think I like this one on this side. Alright, so we're gonna go right there, hopefully down the middle of our, and we're gonna move it around a little bit as we go, because between my, you know, cutting of the washi tape, and I did try to use the cutter to do the washi tape, but, and the potential folding of the so there is a little bit of an edge, so I'm trying to figure out, you know, how do we, I'm gonna use my bone folder and try to sort of bend it over the fold a little bit. Now we might end up using, I may use the scissors and rough it up a little bit. We may be trying to see if we can remove it a little bit. Because, you know, putting my hands over it, trying to see if I can bend it a little bit with the fold. And see if we can do it. Because I don't think, I mean, I could keep cutting at the edges, trying to make it smaller. And every time I do it, it'd probably get worse and worse. And I don't want to do that. So far, oh, it's not as, that's dry. So yeah, there's a little bit of bending because I feel like I realize as it's drying, it's starting to bow a little bit. So this one has, you know, but as we get each layer on, it's going to weigh it down more and more. So it's going to keep it pretty flat. So yeah, I have to decide whether or not I want to, right? Maybe we rough it up a little bit on the edges so it's not so obvious that it's off the page. And if we re-ink it, it actually will give it a nice rough. You just gotta be careful we don't rough up the, I'm just using, a little bit of both. It's, rough it up, we'll put some more ink on it, and it will get rid of any overly excess pieces of tape that maybe we don't want, or thin it out at least to where it'll stay down a little bit better. All right. We're not trying for modern, we are going clean, and we're going nice clean lines for the most part, even with this distressing here. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to take the vacuum to my workbench, my work table here. There we go. We're just doing this. And then, let's see, we can, because when you do rough things up like that, and there's adhesive and who knows what else, it definitely will pick up, you know, more ink than it maybe had to begin with. And we were sort of guessing at one edge anyway because it had an interesting, you know, overlap on the label paper. So no, it's looking good. I like that. Okay. And over time, as we just keep working on it, we can just keep, you know, reducing any kind of whiteness. It really just looks like a pale blue or pale blue or even green edge. So I'm really, I'm not minding at all. I don't think it's anything major where I'm like, oh, that is so white. Why did I do that? We just keep adding. If it's really not going one color, we could add a little bit of oxide. I have the blue and the green, speckled egg, and the sage if we needed to. If nothing else was holding. So, okay. So we're going to do the same thing over here. Now that we know what we're doing, this will be a little quicker. There's our back half. All right. And I think we're going to go, like we've been doing, sort of lighter on the top, darker on the bottom. I mean, I could have cornered all of this. I didn't think about that till now, but I don't know. We do have a lot of straight lines for the most part, except when we get to the tab section. It's the only time we're going to trace and sort of mimic those feels, whether or not, we want to have things rounded. There we go. Now this one I did not ink before we do it, but since we are roughing it up, it's okay. I'm going to try. But yeah, I may want to try to round this out more, or we're going to leave it be. So we'll see. But I think the only places we're going to round it is that inner panel. Then when you open this little folio box, that we're going to see any kind of a roundness to it. We're going to keep everything pretty straight-laced, I think, otherwise. Like I said, well, the designs and the florals, that when we get to layer them, be our soft points. Okay, so roughing it up. I'll give or take 1/2 inch on our washi and on our spine, or our inner spine, I guess. And the second side's always a little easier because now that you've figured out what you think you're doing, it goes so much faster, right? That's why we do assembly line and mass make sometimes, because we're just like, oh, that's how it works. That's what we need. Bam, bam, bam. And we can get it out. Okay, now I don't see what time it is. I'm hoping we did not just do all of it right there and we're done, which is possible. But we got the measurements, the folding. We have our outer covers and our spine. Spine's actually done, right? Inside and out. We have our measurements to know where we need to be with our sort of placement, so things look like they're staying lined up. And for the most part, we're doing really good. For, any little bit mini operating error here, I feel like we're doing really well. Slow and steady, wins the race here. So we are definitely just working our way through this. Ugh. Yeah, the corners are going to come up a little bit here and there, and that's where we'll just use the glitter glue to make sure that it stays down. So, there's our front. Ta-da! This is right. That's good. I'm going to leave this left over here, so inside. Just so we don't accidentally go all of a sudden work upside down, because that would be terrible. Let's see how we're doing. Yeah, 15 minutes. We are booking. Hey, we've got somewhere we got to start. So here we are using the Star Catchers kit from Ink and Page Journals. I will have her link down below. I guess I'll have her YouTube, like the beginning, the first YouTube video that I can find using this kit. And if you want to make exactly what she's got, then subscribe, do what she's doing. Of course, and you can follow along with her and maybe watch mine in between the two. Maybe you can, you'll have all the different, that's what I was looking for that the other day. Between the two, you can have, your own unique piece, or you can copy either one of us for what it is, right? So, I will do that down below. So that is off her website, off her, YouTube, that I believe is how you get a hold of your, free kits that I believe she has if you subscribe. So, we'll do that. And then, so next week, we will then, I will have the inside measured, because the inside, I believe, I got two different things going. So I'll get these measured, potentially ready to cut. The inside I wanted to work with you guys, but I'll look through it again and maybe I'll just get it measured and cut so we can glue them down and tuck them in and, continue on, right? because what I'm hoping is that these guys, which are plenty big, yeah, they really, because I was expecting like the front to have a bigger space. So now I'm a little wondering if these are going to make the better do like we did. And I don't mind this blue in the middle of it all. It's actually really pretty. I might be changing up my whole kit and caboodle here. Now the only downside about this was that I had boxes. I had pockets that blended in with the background. I had sort of a thought process for the back, and I'm really bummed. Because there's not much. I don't need much of this, right? So I'm going to have this whole chunk here left over. So, well, how rude. Because these are our inside pockets, right? They're going to go up here, which I'll have to cut a little bit off the edge and re-thumbnail our thing. This is our upper. We're going to trace it, have it sit inside, you know, our tabbed pocket, or even perfectly cover maybe in the top. But, you know, trim off a little, make it work, repocket it. This is going to be gusseted, which I think I was going to fold down anyway. Yeah, I goofed, guys. I was supposed to leave myself leftover. So you know what? I think we have the perfect space now for the gusset. I can just fold this back. We'll take a square. We'll give it gusset so we have a nice clean pocket on both of these. So that'll work perfect. I don't need to cut anything. These are supposed to be the outside edges, just to cover, so we can hide our perfect little, our pretty little magnets, right? So I'm gonna have some extra strips left over on that. I'm gonna organize some strips. But the inside was actually covered with this beautiful floral pocket thing, and I was gonna put the pockets on the bottom to make up for the fact that the paper doesn't go from top to bottom, right? So this would cover the bottom, page to the top, which means I gotta put something there then. And I was gonna do a flip out version here, and would maybe do some kind of hidden slit pocket here. So I think we'll stick to the dark stuff on the inside, right? We're gonna keep with the original plan. Let's keep going what we're doing, even though I'm like, oh, we have these big old pieces, but that's okay. It all works. We'll make it all work. It'll be good. So thank you all very much for liking, loving, commenting, joining me as we work our way through this. And we're creating our new little spined folio, ephemera folio. I wish I don't want to say gusseted. It's not a full box because there's nothing top and bottom, but it is still a really pretty piece, and I'm hoping it's going to turn out really well, and there'll be a journal to match, and you guys will follow along as we turn a file folder into an ephemera holder, and with plenty of pockets to enjoy, with beautiful ephemera provided and decorated up in this lovely kit, and we can just go from there. So love you all very much. Hope to talk to you all very soon, as we will continue this on next week. And I will be back with a pink and green Mother's Day gift idea. Ooh, that was supposed to be tomorrow, huh? Well, maybe not, ladies and gentlemen. I think I goofed. I forgot about that and didn't give myself enough time. So we'll see. Fingers crossed that maybe I can give you a last minute Mother's Day idea. Thursday night or Friday morning. Maybe I'll do a Friday morning video. I know it's not the best time, but it gives you a little time to maybe get a little idea and create up a cute little standalone ephemera piece for your mom who happens to be local or nearby. You're going to see, so you don't have to worry about shipping it. If you have to come across and then you want to come together, bring together a cute, unusual Mother's Day gift idea. So I will try to do that. If not, well, it's okay. Hopefully you're all taken care of, and we will see you guys later this weekend or into next week, and we'll continue on with our folio ephemera piece and this beautiful Starcatcher floral journal kit. So talk to you all very soon, and have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye-bye.